Kiss us on the street. We moving to the beat. Platform Africa. Feel the rhythm in your feet. Sunshine in our eyes. Colors in the skies. Platform Africa. Every dream can rise. Platform Africa.
Hello, welcome to Platform Africa. My name is Key Gerald Howard, and today we have this special person who is not new when it comes to reality TV. She is adorable. She is one of Africa's best, and I'm 100% sure a lot of you have been thinking, what has she been up to? She is here today to tell you herself what she's been up to. We have the one and only, the adorable Abby. How you doing today, Abby?
Hi, Gerald. I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Like I was saying, you have not aged at all. It almost like you put your age on pause.
You're flattering.
No, I'm being serious. I'm being serious.
You can see my gray, which I'm trying to embrace. I'm happy about it.
That looks very good on you. I'm not joking.
I've been trying to figure out, should I diet or should I do something about it? And the few people have said, okay, no, keep it. So I'm like, okay, I'll keep it.
If you need my honest opinion, I think you should leave it just as it is. Okay. So, how have you been, Abby? We really missed seeing you on our screen.
Gosh, I've been really good. I live in Tanzania now. I'm originally from South Africa, but
Right.
I've been living in Tanzania for, I think this year is actually my 20th year.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 20 years. So I'm super, happy here, and there's so much potential to do so many things that I've been doing over the years, but I've been really, really good. Really, really good. Like, just enjoying life and, trying to live it to its fullest, still being the crazy person that I am, that I guess, the continent got to know me for. But very good.
And we will be getting into that a couple of moments from now. So I want us to go all the way back. Please tell us a little bit about Abby. For people who don't know who Abby is, we would need to know you from your upbringing, like from the time you were a child, your household and everything.
Gosh, I'm an old woman now.
You funny, stop saying.
Well, I was originally, I'm born in South Africa, and I was raised there my whole entire life until I was 28 when I moved to Tanzania. And I moved to Tanzania because I was part of the very first Big Brother Africa in 2003, which took place in South Africa, Johannesburg. I represented South Africa that year, and what a blast. What an incredible time of my life, can I say? Because from that, so many things have happened because of that show that I was on. I've got to travel the world. I've got to, meet multiple presidents across the continent, meet incredible people, and, just have a really wonderful story, actually. So, yeah, I had dreams of, working in media and entertainment since I was a little kid, and I fulfilled those dreams, and I'm very, very happy about that. But yeah, more or less, that's me in a nutshell.
Right. So we need to know, how did you get the gig of being on Big Brother Africa? How did it come about?
Okay, so like I said, it was a lifelong dream of mine to work in entertainment. And the first Big Brother that they actually had was not an African Big Brother. It was just a South African Big Brother.
Oh.
So in South Africa, we all watched it and we were like, wow, this is incredible, da da da. So my friends, because, I was going for auditions for different shows and adverts and things like that. So I was trying to pursue my career in the media world. And everybody urged me on. They were like, oh, you do so great. The next one, you have to do it. And I was like, this is so intimate, it was super intimate. And at that time, I was already 26 years old. So, wasn't sure if I was ready to expose so much of my life on such a huge platform. But needless to say, I auditioned for the very first Big Brother Africa, and I got the part. So that was super awesome. I'm so grateful for that, actually. There were so many contestants. I think there was close to like thousands.
Are you serious? A lot of people auditioned then.
No, a lot. It was even, I'm not, please don't quote me on the number. Although
I know.
Auditions, but there were a few thousand people. And out of that, incredible. I mean, I don't know if they still do it now, but our interview process and our vetting process for my time was super intense. Like we had to do, I think it was 3 or 4 days of consecutive different tasks and interviews. So the first day was just normal meet and greet interviews with, the crew and people who were doing the show. And then the next day it was psychological evaluations. And then the next day was psychological tests,
Right.
To make sure that they're not serial killers or whatever. And then the fourth day was just, they would put you in these, not awkward, but like weird situations and try to figure out, how you would respond to certain things and stuff like that. So I don't know if they do that anymore, because I've spoken to some contestants and they've told me that, like, no, we don't do all of that. And I'm like, okay, it's crazy. But, yeah. And then the final, interview with them was a panel interview where you get to sit with the producers and everybody and just have a conversation, basically, like you and I are doing now. And they ask you a bunch of questions, you answer them to the best of your ability, and then a few weeks later they gave me a call. And I was like, I thought the call was going to be like, no, you didn't make it, this, because I was like, there was so many other incredible people that were there. But it was weird. I was at work. I'll never forget it. I was at work, sitting behind my desk in my corporate job, and they called and gave me the news, and I couldn't scream. I wanted to scream so bad.
So what work did you do before getting on Big Brother Africa?
What work was I doing?
Yes.
I was a fraud consultant, actually.
Okay.
So crazy. I used to work for a company called Osiris Trading, which is actually still in Johannesburg. They're an incredible company. I worked with them for a very, very long time, many years. And so I was at work.
So after Big Brother Africa, did you get to go back to that same job, or because things changed, right?
Yeah, no, my life blew up. Like, I never expected it. None of us expected it in the house. We were the first Big Brother Africa, we didn't understand the magnitude of
Right.
the show, because also being in the house, you don't know what's going on outside.
Right.
So all we had was these energies that we were feeling constantly all the time. Like you felt it when you are in a small group of people who are in a small space, that you tend to sync somehow.
Sure.
You start thinking the same, you start doing the same thing, imitating each other and stuff like that. And so did our energies. And we felt a lot of things. We felt when there was chaos going on outside. We never knew what it was, but we would go into the diary room and literally have conversations with Big Brother and be like, what's going on out there? Like, we can feel it. We're all feeling it. Something is uneven. Something is awkward.
Right.
And of course, they couldn't tell us. But, when we came out, they were like, you guys were incredible. You guys were on point. Like, how did you all know? And we didn't know. And later to find out that it's a psychological thing, so, which is beautiful. But yeah, I don't know. It was it was a crazy, overwhelming a change of life.
Right.
There was no way I could go back to working a corporate job. I got so many jobs from Big Brother that, helped me actually to pursue the career that I wanted to, which was to work in television.
Right.
And I got to travel across almost the entire continent. I lived out of a suitcase for like a year and a half, just going home, changing, repacking, moving to the next country, going home, change, like just up and down. It was incredible.
I can imagine.
Super incredible.
So I never told anyone this. I also auditioned for Big Brother Africa. It was
Same one?
no, not the same one. I think
Okay. Oh my
4 different seasons after you guys. It was my sister and I, and we made it as far as where you would sit on like a conference table with producers and stuff. And then we did get a call that we were not moving forward. They took other people. Yes.
That was
Yes.
crazy because I remember they didn't do the show again. After our show, they did it, I think, 3 years later after that. They waited like,
Yeah. And that was the one I think we auditioned for.
yeah.
So to be honest, the very first Big Brother Africa was everything. I want to believe they were trying to get the same energy globally that they got from the very first Big Brother Africa. And to be honest, it has not been the same. And I want to believe that it is not going to be the same because when you guys started reality TV, that wasn't a thing globally. So you had all the attention. Now there are thousands of reality TVs on Netflix alone. So it's never going to be the same. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, it's not going to have the same. That's why I'm also so like, I'm in touch with so many of my housemates, which I'm very happy about. And we always talk about how we were so authentic just going in there. I'm not saying that any of the other housemates are not, but because we had no social media.
Right.
Think about it.
Right.
We had no social media. There was no such a thing as social media in 2003, which I'm kind of happy about.
True.
But but there was no social media. We didn't have, we had cell phones, but we weren't allowed also to have the phones in the house.
Right.
So there was no culture of Twitter and all of these things. No YouTube, no Facebook, none of that. So everything that was going on was reported in newspapers, magazines, TV guides, television, radio. These were the platforms. There were no podcasts and all of these
Right.
things. So but also the housemates in the house were very, can I say, we were all naive to the magnitude of the show or what it would have been. That people would gravitate so strongly to it. I remember every different country that I went to, they would all tell me, they'd be like, Abs, because not everybody has TVs. So certain bars and, little stores or whatever would have a TV set and everybody would
Gather. Yes.
and actually watch the show.
Yes.
I was like, wow, that is incredible. So if you think about it, like no phones, there was nobody was like on phone.
Right.
It was all a communal thing. It's like, no, we're going to go to so-and-so's house, or we're going to go to the shop down the road, or we're going to go to the bar down the road.
Right. It was almost like you forced to watch it because there was no other option.
Yeah. It's like we're going to find a way to watch the show.
Right.
And this the other day, which is crazy because so many people remember that show as well. And just the other day, a gentleman walked up to me in my job over here, and he was like, "You know what, Abby? I was so in love with you."
I think everybody was.
Yeah, but this is 20 years ago. He was a young man at that time. And he was like, "I was so in love with you. you kept me up. I wouldn't want to go to bed.
Right.
My mom was angry, and I was sitting and just watching, and I'm like, wow, it's like a core memory for him. It's there. It's not something that's just.
For me too, I have to say this. So we did have a winner. It was Cherise, correct?
Yes, yeah, sorry.
No shade to Cherise. She's adorable. She's beautiful, smart, and everything. She won, but she is not the memorable one from that batch.
Yeah.
It was you.
Oh, bless you.
I'm serious. Everyone will tell you that. It was you. And the second person in line, if you ask me, I would say Gaetano. Then Gaetano. And then Moesho. Then we will start talking about Cherise and other people, Tapua. I got to meet Moesho and we hung out for a little bit in Ghana. I used to live in Ghana then. I think all of you guys went to Ghana for some program. You were, I think, the entire batch. And then I went to visit some girls in an estate in Accra called Nyaniba Estate. And I met him. We all had a drink on the table. He's so cool. Yeah, he's very cool.
He hasn't changed because Misha's from Tanzania, so I see him quite often, and we're very good friends. And we talk about it all the time. We laugh. We've grown so much,
right?
But he's still the same person. He's still like I'm still my character is my character. That's
True.
not going to change, and the same with him. So we get along like we were living in the house yesterday. It's very cool, actually. Yeah.
So we reached out to him as well, and we're trying to get him on this platform. So hopefully he responds. We still have our fingers crossed. We've been waiting.
I'll think about it.
Yes, please. We would really appreciate that. Now, I need us to talk a little bit of from when you were walking on that stage to getting into the house. What did you have in mind? Was your expectation different from when you actually got into the house? What was Abby thinking then?
Wow. I literally get butterflies now when I think about it. It was nerve-wracking. Extremely nerve-wracking because, it wasn't just the normal Big Brother. This was continental.
Right.
And a week before we went into the house, they actually put us into, they took us out of our homes and put us into like a hotel. And
not to cut you off, were you all in separate hotels?
No, we were in the same. Okay, they weren't supposed to tell us this, but of course they did. But we were all in the same hotel, but in different rooms.
Okay.
And we were not allowed to leave our rooms.
Okay. So how long were you guys in the hotel for before getting on national television?
About a week.
Okay.
We were in the hotel for about a week. But we weren't allowed to leave our rooms because the other housemates were there. We weren't allowed to meet each other, of course.
Okay.
And we had chaperones. Each housemate had a chaperone. So if we needed anything, they would,
go get it for you.
But it was kind of like a preparation to go into the house.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was basically, excuse me, just seeing how we would actually being on our own. So our meals would get delivered to our door. Our chaperone would bring us whatever we needed. If I needed to get my hair done, they'll bring somebody to the house. If I needed whatever, But we were only allowed a certain amount of time to actually have our phones, and for family, we weren't allowed to have our phones. So it was, a little test run to see what are you going to do with your time? How are you going to spend it? Will you be able to be alone for long periods of time where you're okay? So that was a little bit of a test run. And then the day of the actual show, it was busy because my room was constantly like producers coming in and, checking, okay, what are you wearing? Are you wearing heels? There's a there's a vent on the floor there. You're gonna get stuck. No, change the sandals. But like little
Okay.
finicky things because it was a massive show. It was a massive show.
It was.
So the stylists were coming in to get clothes done, getting hair done. I did my own makeup because that time makeup and stuff wasn't such a big thing, like now it's, but, and then, I remember my hairdresser at the time was a gentleman who was more or less from the same community as I was back home. And he just gave me so much inspiration. Rest in peace, because he's passed away now.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
He gave me so much. He was like, Abs, I'm not supposed to tell you this. He's like, but we are so proud of you. As it was so beautiful. So I had that confidence when I went into the house, After we got dressed and everything, we got into cars, and there was, I don't know if you remember, the convoy to the multi-choice studios where the house was. So we were all in convoy in these beautiful cars. They had like air drone shots. Okay, there were no drones. I don't know, from a helicopter, I guess. The shots. And when we got to the house, so the cars would just wait behind each other, and each person would go in. One by one. And eventually, when it was my turn, I had my chaperone sitting next to me, and he said to me, he was like, Abs, remember one thing, this is your country. You are the South African representative. He was like, please get the crowd going. And this is the first time I'm doing something like this. I've never done it. And I'm like, okay, get the crowd going.
What does that even mean, right? I'm even thinking that.
Just try and get the crowd going. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, fine, I'll do it. Like, whatever,
right.
And we pulled up, and I got out of the car. And what was so beautiful, the host, Mark, as I got out of the car, he just gave me this look. It's so beautiful. We do it in TV now as well for people who are not, but it's like, you're okay. Because the environment is extremely, extremely overwhelming. But also Mark has passed away. He suffered with cancer for many, many years. So
I did not know that.
Incredible human being. So he pulled me, and not pulled me, but took me out of the car. And this look he gave me was like,
right.
Like, don't worry about it. And from that moment, I was like, okay, I got this. And I saw there was a crowd of people, and there was a girl standing with a South African flag.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I went off cue, and because they were like, you have to walk this. And I'm like, wait, I want
right.
flag. So I went, and I took the flag. I was like, can I have your flag? She was like, sure. I took the flag. And the minute I held up the flag, everybody just went crazy. And that for me was like, okay, we got something going here.
Right.
Yeah. But then, walked into the house, which was so crazy because outside was so much noise and so much hype. And so
right.
much. And then you walk into the house and it's crickets.
You couldn't hear any noise from outside at all?
It was far. It was far. So you could hear it, but you couldn't
really hear it.
Yeah, because when you walk into the house, it's through tunnels and tunnels.
Oh, I did not know that.
They don't show all of that. They show you coming through the door.
Interesting.
Once you pass the entrance,
mm-hmm.
go through these tunnels, and you are running like somebody grabs their hand and they're like, "Let's go," and they go.
Wow.
And then you get to the door and they're like, "Okay, wait." And you're like, "I want your bread."
So, of the entire batch, of all the people who were contesting during your season, who would you say are your top 4 people you still in contact with now?
Oh, I talk to Gaetano all the time. We're very good friends. I speak to Bruna. Do you remember?
I remember Bruna, the singer, adorable Bruna.
Oh yeah, Bruna's incredible. So Bruna's very cool. Misho for sure. And I just spoke to Bayo, actually, from Nigeria a few weeks ago, which was very crazy. It was so unexpected. But I spoke to Bayo a few weeks ago, so I think those would be my top three. Yeah.
So I understand that you and Gaetano had a thing. How long did it last after the Big Brother Africa show?
Not very long. I think it lasted maybe 6 months. I don't even remember. It was so long ago. But yeah, maybe about 6 months, because unfortunately what happened was, it's not that we didn't care for each other. We care for each other very much, even up until today. But our schedules were insane. We hardly had time to spend together. We were two of the most busiest housemates.
I believe you. Yeah.
So it was really crazy, like to the point where we even tried to get people to book us together so that we didn't have, just so that we could actually like
Spend time together.
Yeah. But it got really, really impossible to maintain a relationship like that. So
I take it as you guys just grew apart as time went on.
we did. And, so much has happened since then. I mean, he got married and I got married and I've had 2 kids, and, my kids are grown now. They're like 18 years old and 16 years old, but we've always maintained our friendship. This is the beautiful thing that I've because we were in that situation together. And the one thing about, actually, I released my book last year, and he was one of the first people who actually wanted me to do an interview on his radio show. He's like, you have to break this on my show. You can't do it anywhere else. I was like, no problem. I got you, But Gaetano's always been the person who protected me throughout all the scandals, and how the public viewed me because of having an African woman having a relationship on TV.
Right.
Oh my gosh, so scandalous, blah, blah, blah. But he was revered, he was celebrated, and I'm like, but we were in this together. So he was the one who always stood up for me. And I really respect and I love him for that. And I always talk about it, because whenever I got backlash, or whenever there was some kind of, gossip or whatever,
He was always there to defend you.
he always had my back every single time. He's a true, genuine guy. He really is.
That's good to know. I like the fact that after everything, you guys ended up being friends.
Oh gosh, great friends. Yeah, great friends. I mean, when I say great friends, like he's incredible. Like, I got to know so much more about him now than I ever could have, And it was funny because when I sent him, I said to you, I released my book last year, and there's a chapter in the book which is dedicated to Big Brother. And of course I talk about him,
Right.
relationship and everything like that. And he was like, I need to read it. I need to read it. I'm like, okay. I said, but first of all, do I have your permission to write about it? And he was like, he's like, please, whatever. He's like, I'm never going to say no to you with regards to anything. And I'm like, so.
I've not met him, but he gives me this energy, like this positive energy, like he's always hype, even looking at him like on camera, like on screen. Right? And I think he can relate to anybody. That's how I see him.
No, he's such a people person. He really is. He's an incredible people person, but he's also extremely humble. If you know Gaetano is very, very, very humble man, He's like how do I describe him? Like the babu, at the wedding. He's that guy.
The hype man.
Yeah, and he's fun, and he's
right.
funny, and he's fun, and he's very realistic. And this is something that I love about him so much. I mean, even if, if I have issues or whatever, I'll pick up the phone and I call him. I'll be like, dude, But I know that he's going to be straight with me, and he's going to, whether it's constructive criticism or whether it's support, like, I can rely on him. He's that kind of friend. He's that kind of friend.
So if you had the chance to do everything all over again, will you be going back into the Big Brother Africa house?
Back into Big Brother? No.
Why not?
No, I gladly host it. Oh my gosh, I would gladly host it. But I don't think I'd be able to be a contestant again. So much has changed, Gerald. Oh my gosh.
No, not necessarily being a contestant again. I'm just going back in the past. If you had to do it all over again, would you do it all over again?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was easy, right?
I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. You know, it was a major stepping stone in my character development, you know, and also who I am today. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful that I took that risk. I think so many of us don't take risks in our lives. You know, we don't, look, we dream and then we leave it there. And we expect the universal guard or whatever to do it for us. And I'm like, no. You have to make this manifestation happen.
Right.
If you don't do it, who's going to do it? You have to put the wheel in motion.
True.
You know?
True.
So, we need to take more risks, calculated risks, but for sure we do have to take more risks. So no, I would never change anything. That's
good to know. Thanks for letting us know that. So we would get a little bit deeper into your book. So this platform, I actually am building it because I'm trying to erase the stereotype that the Western world have for the entire African continent. Speaking of reality TV, most people don't even know that before reality TV was a thing in the Western world, we owned it, we started it, we brought the hype that it requires to it. So I was like, let me get in touch with Abby. I was like 90% sure that you were going to agree to come on my show. But then again, there was this little voice like, oh, I don't think Abby would want to come. But my team reached out and here we are having this conversation. So yeah, like I was saying, I want to dive into every sector of the entire African continent, from our reality TV, from our banking industry, our movies, our music industry, just our real estate, our business people, because I'm interviewing different people from different African countries, prominent people, so as to bring this conversation to the world so they see us in a different light. Because most people don't even know we have a lot going on that we are proud of.
They think we have elephants running around in our back.
Exactly. So what have you by any chance experienced any of those stereotypes about the entire continent? What have been your experience?
Oh, for sure. I've experienced it all the time. I mean, you know, and not to knock anybody, but there's a lot of naivety.
Right.
To say naivety, because we need to educate each other. You know, if we don't, I, for one, am a perfect example of somebody who came from South Africa and didn't know very much about the rest of the African continent, you know? And then when I started traveling through it and opening my eyes and being receptive to the information, because you have to be receptive. If you're not receptive, you're never going to get it.
True.
But, just being receptive to everything that was going on around me, I learned so much. I fell in love with the African continent, with our people, with just our way of life. My phone is glitching. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
But then also just discovered that we have so much to offer, not just on a standard of what the world sees on the outside. You know, there's just the truth of Africa, and I don't want to make this a political conversation, but the truth of Africa has been hidden from us our entire life.
True.
You know, nobody knows the truth about the African continent.
True.
People who do is very few and far between. So unfortunately, we don't have the scope in which to stand by. So I'm with you 1,000,000% when you say you want to change the narrative, because I'm all about that mission as well. I support your mission 1,000,000%, because if not us, then who?
Right.
You know,
We have to stand up and
and
speak.
now when? Yeah.
True.
So we need to make these little changes, as little as they may seem. They're not really that little, because you are creating a portal for other people to do the same and to take it further. So I'm in awe of what you are doing, absolute awe. And as much as, yes, like coming back to your question, I've experienced so much naivety. I always see it as an opportunity to educate. I always see it as an opportunity to teach. There's many times that I do laugh about it. Trust me, I do. Because I take the mickey out of almost everything these days.
At first, I used to get so upset, but now it's almost like a walk in the park. I'm like, okay, if you want to be naive, if you want to be narrow-minded with how social media is now chasing us as compared to us chasing social media, you could just Google. You could go on YouTube and get information. If you want to stick to a false narrative that you have about a continent, that's on you. That's just let me know who you are as an individual.
But also, a lot of people suffer from cognitive dissonance, where they just do not want to see or learn the truth because they've been fed all of this their entire lives. And because it sits well with them and their mindset and their thinking, they are refusing to move forward and see the bigger picture or see past it. So we're also going to have those in other, i.e. they're also known as haters. But the haters are few and far between. There's an entire glow of people who are open to the truth.
True.
And just please keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me and my team. So I need us to talk a little bit about your book. I need to know what inspired you writing a book. And when people wants to get copies of your book, where can they get it from?
Okay. So the inspiration for my book is men. The book is called
I hope you're not batching us in that book.
Not
Okay, because I'll be fighting you. I'm just kidding.
So everybody, because of the title of the book, everybody automatically assumes that it's a tell-all and that it's scandalous, and to be very honest, I know this sounds super boring, but trust me, it's not. It's not. It's not a tell-all. Like you said, you're on a mission to change, the picture of Africa, and so am I. I'm not going to follow the crowd and, badmouth people who have affected my life, whether in a good way or bad.
Right.
I think the onus is on me to represent myself in a way where people can resonate with it, and that's all I want, because if you can resonate with my story, it will then empower you to tell yours.
Absolutely.
And that's all that I want, So it's a memoir. It's my very first memoir. My mission and goal in life is to be a writer for the rest of my time. I will get there eventually. I wrote it between 2020 and 2022.
Okay.
I never, ever, ever, ever wanted to be a writer my entire life. Never. I never thought about it. It was never a thing. But I have no idea what changed in 2021. I think also I've just been getting so much feedback from people. Me just talking with them, they're like, oh my gosh, you've lived such a full life and you have so many stories and you need to write a book. And I'm like, I don't want to write a book about it, but I broke it down to myself and then I thought about it. And I was like, if I was to write a book, what would it be about? And I have been so unlucky with romantic men and also just men in general in my life. I think many women can say the same, but I thought to take it upon myself because I lost my dad some years ago, and then I lost the most important man in my life, which was my brother, my elder brother.
I'm so sorry to hear.
Oh, thank you, baby. It was a long time ago, but he was my everything, and he still is up until today. You know, he had such an important hand in raising me. So then I got divorced as well, you know, in 2009, the same year I lost my brother. 4 years later, I lose my dad. And then there's the whole Big Brother thing, which I also took as a man in my life,
Right.
just given the name of the story. But then Gaetano is involved in that, an incredible human being, which romantically didn't work out as well, you know. And I said to myself, I'm going to write a book about this because I have a daughter as well, and there's so many lessons that I need to write down, and important things that nobody gives us a manual for: grief, romance, death, love. Just all of these emotions that we have to deal with throughout our lives, and nobody really gives us any information on how to do that. You know? So I was very cognitive about what it was that I was feeling, and I noted everything, and I made a point of writing things down. And eventually I had a book of 7 chapters with 7 different men, not all of them good, you know, not all of the stories good, but very honest, very authentic, very funny, because I tried to bring out the witty me in the book as well. I had an incredible editor who just made all of that happen for me, you know. So I gave her my stories, and she literally just, you know, introduced me to a whole new world, which is the book world, a completely different world.
Right.
You know, and put me in a space where I had a story to tell, and I'm so grateful to her, actually. She's incredible. But put me in a space where I had a story to tell, and people could, you know, be a part of that, and hopefully also be inspired to tell their own stories, you know. So, yeah, the book is available on Amazon.
Okay.
If anybody wants to, you know, have it. It's a Sunday afternoon read. It's not a massive novel. It's 173 pages.
That's a lot of pages if you ask me. I will be reading.
But it's a Sunday afternoon light read that will basically just inviting me into your home for a few hours, you know. So
Thanks for letting us know.
like I've gotten from it is good, huh?
So before we leave, I need you to let us know, what is Abby up to now, and where does Abby see herself going? What should we be expecting?
Okay. I'm a very busy girl, as you know. I do a multitude of things. So I have a radio show which I do Monday to Friday, the Drive Show on Genie FM here in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam. And so I'm the general manager of a very beautiful and exclusive restaurant lounge.
Okay.
It's called Link, and it's here in Dar es Salaam. If you know, I don't know, throughout my years, this has always been something that I've done, which is restaurants, lounge, events. I do this on a consistent basis because it's just a passion of mine, and I love it, and I love bringing people together, people having a good time. Like I love it. I thrive with that, you know. And besides that, I'm also part of a new media platform, which we haven't launched yet. We're still working on the details. It's actually a global platform. We have partners all around the world. And we're just literally right now working on, like you are, working on the content, working on, making everything accessible, making sure that our servers are good, which we have massive problems with, but this is part of it. So it's just all, I can't wait for that because the platform that we're launching is going to be so incredible. Like you said, we're going to be changing the face of what people think Africa is.
Right.
Yeah, and the team is just phenomenal. Team is incredible. Most of the team that I'm working with, I worked for E! Entertainment a few years back, and we did a show across Africa. And the crew from that show, wow, what an incredible set of human beings. So I'm so proud to have met them. And we've just taken our relationship to another level. We've just continued and brainstormed so much more. Started to brainstorm because that's actually the name of the company.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's in a nutshell what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
So besides some people on my arm and all the other stuff, yeah.
Thank you so much for the update on Abby. I will need you to tell my audience that just give us all of your handles for Instagram, Facebook, wherever you can be found or you would want to be followed, so people keep in touch and keep up with everything you're doing. Well, almost everything.
So, almost everything. Well, my Instagram is Abbyplaatjes. That's ABBYPLAATJES. And I mainly use Instagram. I hardly use X at all, but it's there. And if you'd like to follow it, it's Ms. Abby. That's MZZABBY.
Oh, okay. Everything will be on screen, and once this is ready to go, say a month from now, we will definitely be in touch with you so as to give you the opportunity to watch everything that happened today. We want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. It means everything. It means a lot to people who have been wondering what has Abby been up to. At least now they have closure and they can keep up with you. So thank you so much. And if you have anything else you would want to say to me, any questions, I'm open to that.
Well, no, I wanted to say that I'm super proud of what you guys are doing. I love the platform. And I love your tenacity as well. I have given Gerald so much uphill, guys. You don't understand.
I know.
But he's been so patient.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So patient. I'm so grateful for that. And I'm very, very proud. I'm proud to be a part of this. I'm very proud and honored actually that you asked me. Like that was really, really beautiful for you. And I love the tenacity. So thank you so much.
You are very welcome. We thought if we're going to be reaching out to people who are the epitome of reality TV, there is no other name that we could have thought about but Abby. And we're also grateful to have you on our show. Me sitting in your presence means everything to me, and I highly appreciate that.
It's only a pleasure. Anytime. If you need anything, I'm going to have Musho check you out.
I appreciate it.
I got it.
I appreciate it.
Got it.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gerald. You too. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Kiss that on shit. We moving to the beat. Platform Africa. Feel the rhythm in your feet. Sunshine in our eyes. Colors in the skies. Platform Africa. Every dream can rise. Platform Africa.